I might get a lot of hate for this take, but I'm gonna let my inner Stone Cold Steve Austin come out. Personal development books are lame. There, I said it. Now, some of you are gonna be thinking, oh man, personal development books are great though. Listen, I get it. There's some that are good, but most of them are just absolute trash, and there's not many reasons for it too. You can take a look for yourself. A lot of these books are just written to be sold as much as possible and to kind of like grift for other services like consulting. And also these books, they tend to be way too general and they regurgitate a lot of the same BS. Trust me, you read a few of these personal development books and you get a general idea. But again, don't get me wrong, there's a couple that are amazing, like Atomic Habits and How to Win Friends and Influence People. But those are the exception. Alright, so I would highly recommend not reading personal development books, okay? For the sake of your sanity. But then this begets the question, what do we read instead? Now, I could just give you the easy answer and get this over with, but let me give you a question for you to think about. Where did guys get the fear of their wives cheating on them with black guys? I don't know about you, but this has been on my mind, and being the nerd that I am, I had to do some research. And the earliest record that I could find was from the 9th century AD. And let me retell you this record. It's actually a story. So this one Middle Eastern king is about to go on a huge hunting trip with his younger brother who lives in a different kingdom a little while away. So this king, he grabs all his slaves, caravan, whatever he can think of. And as he embarks on this journey, he forgot something in his castle. So he heads back to his castle, goes into his room to grab whatever he forgot, and then he finds his wife banging a black male slave. Obviously, the guy was in shock and ultimately angry, so he kills them both right there on the spot. However, he still decides to go on this hunting trip, which is kind of weird. So he goes on the journey, but mind you, the guy is obviously depressed and down. So when he reaches his younger brother's kingdom, he's still carrying this depressed attitude, and his younger brother asks him, hey, what's going on? And the king just told him, yo, chill, don't ask me about it, I'm good. And the younger brother's like, fine, whatever, you still want to go hunting? And the king says, no, not today. So the younger brother goes hunting and leaves his older brother to chill. So the king is just chilling in his younger brother's kingdom, and he's on the balcony just minding his own business. And then he sees his sister-in-law come out with numerous slaves, females, males, black, white, whatever you can think of. And then they all proceed to have an orgy. So this king is watching his sister-in-law cheat on his younger brother with presumably black slaves. And this kind of actually made him feel better about himself and his situation. And then he leaves. So he's just chilling, minding his own business, and then his younger brother comes back from the hunting trip and asks him, hey, you seem a lot better. What happened? And the king's like, yo, don't ask me, man. Don't ask me. And the younger brother's like, nah, please tell me. He keeps nagging his older brother until his older brother caves. So the older brother tells me, hey, so I saw my wife cheating with one black male slave. And that's what kind of got me down. But then when you went hunting, I caught your wife banging numerous black dudes with a bunch of other slaves. It was a crazy orgy. The youngest brother was obviously devastated. So he tells his older brother to screw off and basically has all those slaves and his wife executed. But this youngest brother, he wasn't done there. No. For whatever reason, he felt like he had to go on a path of revenge. So he's made a vow that every day he would marry a virgin, sleep with her, and then kill her, and rinse and repeat. Basically the red pill dream. But jokes aside, that is basically, mind you, poorly told, the intro to the book 1001 Arabian Nights. Now, the reason why I mentioned this story and really, kind of flex my historical knowledge, but the reason why I bring it up is that classical literature is what you should be reading, and it's classical literature that tells you that black guys are gonna bang your wives when you're not looking. but jokes aside, classical literature is what you should be reading and what you should be focusing on. And the reason for that is literature, hold something within their stories that, for whatever reason, it's a lot easier to absorb. When you look at a lot of philosophers, one thing that you'll see them continually reference is literature, stories. And there's just something significant about that. And even going through my own experience from weaning off personal development books and getting into classical literature, I noticed that I was able to recall lessons and values from the classical literature I read compared to the personal development books. And I think it's just the way the human brain is wired, that stories are just much more digestible. And you might think I'm just like blowing smoke and whatnot, but trust me, like, if you read classical literature, I can tell you a bunch of different values from different books. And probably, it's me flexing a little bit. But for example, if you want a story where you see someone lie to themselves and really just end up getting destroyed by those continuous lies, read The Death of a Salesman. You'll see how Willie Lawman's life just collapsed right in front of his eyes. Or if you want to learn how to create an adventurous life with very little means, then read Don Quixote. Or if you want to understand self-acceptance, read the plays of Oedipus Rex. And obviously, guys, I can keep bringing this up, but literature will give you so much more that you could ask for. Like I said, they'll give you life lessons, values, philosophies, and on top of all that, it also helps you understand human nature much, much better. Now, some of you will say, oh, Robert Greene has a book on human nature, which is all nice and dandy. But again, it'll be a lot easier to absorb human nature when you're reading it through stories. And trust me, once you read, certain characters in books, you'll be able to spot the different the different behaviors and patterns of those characters in real life. Literature is the greatest gift to mankind, in my opinion. And again, this is just my opinion, but let me share you this quote from a very wise existential psychotherapist, Dr. Yalom. Great literature survives, as Freud pointed out in his discussion of Oedipus Rex, because something in the reader leaps out to embrace its truth. The truth of fictional characters moves us because it is our own truth. Furthermore, great works of literature teach us about ourselves because they are scorchingly honest as any clinical data. And I want to touch on that last point. Literature shows us the harsh truth about ourselves. And compared to personal development books, where it kind of, deceives you a little, where it tries to feed you lies or motivation to get you going to buy more products and, to buy into their way of thinking. Whereas with literature, you have to absorb the pill of self-honesty, no matter how harsh it is. When you're reading literature, it mirrors back what you see in yourself. And again, you go to many of the famous philosophers, that they see that with literature, and it's what helps in really spark their ideas and thoughts on how to live a great life. But mind you guys, I'm just blabbing on at this point, and I could just be a hater for personal development. It's still going to be here. That industry is $1 billion industry, and people are still going to swallow up whatever it's given. But if you're on my channel, I do just want you to take a different approach. That's all. Because time is limited, energy is limited, and we want to focus on the things that will be of substance, right? And let's be honest, in 20 years, what do you think you'll remember? The personal development books you read, or the stories? You and I both know the answer. But before I get too morbid, that's it for today, guys. Thank you again for watching. Please don't forget to like this video, comment, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my newsletter. And guys, remember, you're not just any type of nerd. You're a charismatic nerd.